there are bigger things to worry about today. And by the way, I'm not telling you not fighting for it. I'm not telling you. So my argument isn't the fact that let's just set it aside, let it happen and all this other stuff. Who cares? It's not really a big deal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about character assassination. I'm talking about silencing at the highest level. I'm talking about all of those things being an issue today, where the energy is being put into somewhere where that weapon is outdated today. It was necessary 50 years ago, but not in 2021. I may be wrong.
So I'm kind of talking around something that I haven't want to delve into specifically, because the reason why I hesitate on doing that, ironically enough, is based around the very things you're talking about, because they can take what I'm going to say, flip it and say I'm inciting this. Because at the end of the day, if it happens to enough people, and enough people are like, I've had enough of it. I've had enough of this this tyrannical government shutting me down on my platforms in order to use my First Amendment rights, shutting me down in my ability to make a living and all of these things. At the end of the day, yes, we can collectively come out in the streets with guns and make a stand. That's something that can be done. So from that perspective, at the end of the day, happen. It always.
So that did happen. So that actually did happen, right? So let's go to when the protesting / riots happened, but it's peaceful protesting. We know it wasn't peaceful protesting when the protesting was taking place this summer during COVID. Businesses were getting trashed. You saw the 17-year-old kids going out there and just protecting themselves and defending businesses.
Yeah.
Well, the script was flipped, and it was, look at these, people who are out there, look how they're being raised and they're going around with guns and all this peaceful protesting. No one hears the rhetoric that you're giving. All they see is what's being told on TV. And on TV, it shows that you are radical. You are radical, Noir. You're being painted as a radical individual. You are the radical ones, not all the other folks. And then you go and present yourself in DC and say, hey, here's what we're capable of doing. And then you know what comes next. Oh, inciting all this stuff, then you're turned off, you're silenced. Now what? So all I'm talking about is strategically is all I'm talking about. You got money here, right? That's being put into different issues. Gun rights and gun control. From 1990 election cycle through December of 2019, gun rights and gun control interest groups reported the following political contributions to federal candidacy. Total contribution, gun rights, 44 million. Total gun contribution, gun control, 9.3 million. Donations by Democrats, 4 million. Donations by Republicans, 39 million. But donations, so you look at these numbers, you're like, okay, money's being invested in certain areas. Democrats, quite frankly, are not really putting that much money in gun control. Republicans are putting 45 million. Democrats are putting only 9 million. Republicans are putting 5 times more into the gun issue than Democrats are, right? But what are Democrats quietly doing? They're getting their base and their voice and their audience to get louder to control what you can and can't say. The more they do that, even a great argument loses to one who has more eyeballs. Don't you agree?
Yeah. But see, and they can afford to spend less on the gun issue because they already have the bullhorn.
That's right.
And that's part of the reason why I try to couch my discussion under the guise of it's not a guise, it is as a cultural war, because that's essentially what it is. It's a cultural war against the ownership of firearms. Because one thing that I will say about me and my journey with respect to firearms, the firearm was a catalyst for a lot of other things for me that were in the positive. Because I remember when I first got my ability to conceal carry, I got my license to conceal carry my firearm. And it was at that moment that I realized the only person responsible for my safety is me. That's the person. I can't rely on anybody else. It's going to be me. And so that mindset in and of itself starts to trickle into other aspects of your life, whether it be business, whether it be the way you handle your relationships. That is a freedom, self-sustaining mindset that honestly does not bode very well for a particular group of political class who base their entire ideology on the prominence of government and the dependency on said government. Because when you have people who think from an independent mindset, it's harder to get them to lean and depend on a bigger government. We have a problem with that. And it's because they generate so much of their money, so much of their influence from having a bigger government. Well, they're going to do everything in their power from a cultural perspective to tell you how much you don't need those things. They understand what the firearm does symbolically to a person and how it changes their mindset in a manner that is actually positive, contrary to what a lot of people think, who thinks it's pretty much for the negative. And I'm a walking, talking example of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we need 100 of you. We need 1,000 of you. We need people that are putting this argument out there for others to sit there and say, like, even when Bill Maher talked to you, Bill Maher was like, he was a little bit more subtle. He wasn't challenging you. He wasn't pushing you. And then you almost sat there and said, well, first of all, I respect you. The only reason why he wouldn't push you harder is probably because he didn't research the topic enough to be able to have the data to debate you. So it's like, look, this is not really my deal. I just kind of, I'm looking at, and he just kind of let you do your part. I'm like, wow, even a Bill Maher, who is a guy that's got strong opinions about religion, about God, about a lot of different things, he himself hasn't done a lot of research on gun rights and Second Amendment. So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.